from the inside out. I have been meaning to make this video for a while, but I have been caught up in all this astrological weather myself, and I feel like I'm an Aries, and Aries is taking the brunt of everything. And maybe it is because we've got two outer planets in Aries at the moment. So behind me, I have exactly what it looks like in the sky right now. And so we have, I am an Aries, we have Neptune and Saturn there. And Aries is the start of the zodiac. And these two planets met up in February of this year, right around the time that we had that Aquarius new moon, which was the start of the fire horse year. And right after that, we had this experience. And when an outer planet changes signs, that is a significant impact on the collective because they control the collective. They move so slowly that some of these planets, like Neptune that we're talking about right here, this one that looks like a little pitchfork, it takes about 14 years to go through an astrological sign, and it has been in the sign of Pisces where it most likes to be for the last 15 years. And so with this alignment, when Neptune and Saturn takes about 30 years to go through an astrological zodiac. And so they met up at 0 degrees of Aries, which is the beginning of the zodiac, which I feel has kicked off all of this astrological weather that we are having at the moment. And when an outer planet, like I said, changes signs, and because they move so slowly, this can have a significant impact on the collective in a positive way if we can use some of these energies. And some of these alignments have not happened for the last 20,000 years. And when we know some of these transits that are happening, we can kind of realize why we might be having some uncomfortableness going on in our life, so we can kind of clean up the clutter that no longer serves us. All right, so that was what kicked off this astrological year. And right before that, last year, we had Pluto go into the sign of Aquarius, and he is going to be there for the next 20 years. Now, again, this is another planet, because he moves very slowly. It takes him over 240 years to go around this whole wheel, and he spends 15 to 20 years in an astrological sign. And like I said before, whenever an outer planet moves into an astrological sign, that's generational. And Pluto is about death and rebirth and transformation. And Scorpio, if you are listening right now, you rule this planet right here. And so you can be feeling some tension about trying to change. What are you doing? And does your routine support your habits? Or are you in habits that do not support, whether that's a person, a place, or a thing? Are you over giving in ways that are not service to humanity? So this is a theme that could be coming up for the collective. The last planet that is in this sign, well, I'm sorry, we got two more. We have Uranus that just transited into Gemini. And we also have Mars that's in Gemini right now, giving us energy to do the thing that we need to do, say the thing that we need to do, put ourselves out there and create those opportunities to where we can have more positive experiences with a new community or soul family that we would like to be connected to. So this planet spends about 8 years, 7 to 8 years in a sign. So if you ever hear of the 7-year itch, this is why, because not only does Pluto, which is governed by the sign of Scorpio, we have Mars, which also co-rules Scorpio, in the sign of Gemini, another air sign. So water signs and earth signs, you could be feeling kind of uncomfortable because if you have been stagnant in your energy, if you have not been moving along and, trying to get that clutter out or step onto the higher timeline, you could be having some opportunities to let things go so that you can, okay? And this sign here, Uranus, is about quick and sudden change, and Mars cuts and severs those things, okay? And so this is at 14 degrees, which is things of value, maybe the things that you value in the way that you communicate, or the ways that you value how you spend your time in the community, or how you spend your time with your siblings. That could be changing right now. And the last planet that is in this astrological alignment, okay, that is so grand, is Jupiter. And he is in the sign of Leo. And he just finished his 1 year stint in Cancer, where he was digging up some emotions maybe that we needed to deal with, maybe looking at things of the past that we needed to let go. And when we did let go, then we are able to step into that new story that is getting expanded right now by Jupiter. Whatever Jupiter is in, he expands that sign. He is expanding all things Leo. Leo is being in front of the camera, entertainment, the inner child, having fun. It also controls politicians, the entertainment industry. So we could be seeing, because even though this is a positive aspect, and we've got 6 of them, which I'll explain in a minute, it is meeting Pluto head on, which is about death, rebirth, and transformation. So there could be a death, rebirth, and transformation of how we look at politicians, what we do for entertainment, how we treat our children, how we play, how we create. So if it looks like the world is falling apart, well, that is because it probably is. And maybe some of these things that we have been subscribing to, people, places, or things, aren't meant for us to be into the future. So the first astrological alignment that we are going to be talking about, because we have a lot of sextiles going on and we have a lot of trines going on in this astrological alignment. And before I get into what those are, let me just clear up what a trine is. So a trine is when 2 elements of the same astrological fire, okay, for lack of a better word, work together. So Sagittarius, Leo, and Aries, those are the fire signs. And so if they make a trine, that is just energy that is given to us. We really don't have to work for it. If we have a trine between some of the water signs, those are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, because they work well together. Water works well together. A sextile is when 2 elements that like to work together are creating a little bit more energy, but that energy is created by you taking action. So, for example, one of the sextiles that we are going to be having is Pluto is sextiling Neptune. Pluto is in the sign of Aquarius, which is a death, rebirth, and transformation of service to humanity, the future, technology, UFOs. So some of this information could be coming to the surface because Pluto uncovers the truth. Okay, and he is uncovering the truth for the next 20 years about what has been done to the collective, what has been done to humanity. And he is having a positive conversation with Neptune over here, who is in Aries. Neptune is about creativity, our dreams, that which is not of this world. And it is in Aries. He doesn't really like to be in Aries because Neptune is a water planet, but he is having a positive conversation through Aries to take action on reinventing yourself and stepping out into the uncomfortable to share that magical gift that you have with the world. And if you are not in alignment, then you could be having some death and rebirth of who it is that you are trying to be for humanity. So if you are in a relationship that is stale and you know deep down inside, all right, that that is not the person that you need to be with, step out into the uncomfortable, because with some of these astrological alignments, when you do make those bold moves, you will be supported by the universe with opportunities and resources and money and relationships maybe that could be coming into your sphere to take advantage of. Okay, so those 2 planets are having a positive communication in order for you to do that. You could also be having an opportunity to kind of let things go that don't serve you so that you can be more of that person. And that could be boundaries maybe that you have with others, people saving, making sure that you're in there taking on somebody else's responsibility that isn't yours. There could be a letting go of some of that energy. Okay, and so when we do that, we can put that creative energy, Neptune, into what it is that we want to do for the future. Pluto in Aquarius, transforming who you are to the world. Another sextile that is going to be going on is Neptune between Uranus. So remember, fire and air work well together. Earth and water work well together. If we have fire and earth together, that's going to cause a forest fire. If we have air and water together, that's going to cause a hurricane. But if you have fire and air together, that just makes the fire bigger, right? And ignites it. And that is exactly what is happening here. And so through this electrical shock, because Uranus is electricity, it is the electrical sign of the zodiac. It's quick and sudden changes, kind of like what electrical shock would be. That would be a quick and sudden change. You feel that jolt and you know, I can do that again or I can't do that again. And so you could be having some downloads, maybe that are not of this world, maybe a prayer being answered in a weird and unusual way that you have prayed for, because Uranus is weirdness. Uranus is thinking about what your future looks like. And if you've been wanting to do this thing, but you've been too afraid to step out, this is the dispositor of the next 20 years of Pluto in Aquarius, because Uranus rules Aquarius. And so we think about themes about the future. Advances in technology, advances in medicine, advances in how we use artificial intelligence. There could be a splitting, because Gemini is the two, splitting of timelines, a natural timeline and an artificial timeline. Which one are you going to be signing up for? Are you going to take this opportunity to maybe do some work on yourself, do some real deal spiritual healing because maybe something uncomfortable has happened to you? Or are we just going to zone out on our phone and pretend like that didn't happen? Or are we going to be in some of our negative patterns where maybe we self-sacrifice ourselves continually so that we are thinking that that's what is going to make the situation better, when actuality it is not. So there could be a letting go of old stories that you have told yourself, because Gemini is the communication communication zodiac. How you communicate, how you think, how you speak, the community, your siblings. So there could be a letting go of an old story that maybe you've told yourself. There could be a realization or a stepping into of who you are supposed to be, and maybe doing mantras at this time around success, right? One of the things that I love to tell myself is every time I spend money, I invest in myself. Every time I spend money, I invest in my health. And so when I do spend that money, whether it is on something that I would like to purchase, right, that makes me feel more beautiful or more fun because I got to spend my money in a fun way, think about spending your money on, thank you, God, for allowing me to have this resource of money so I can make my house payment, right? Because if you didn't have that money, you wouldn't have the comfortableness of the house. So think about how you're spending money. Are you investing in yourself? Are you investing in your health? And if you are not, you're not going to be very successful in the future, because health is wealth. And that is the center of the universe. And if you don't have good health, you're not going to be a good employee. You're not going to be a good spouse. You're not going to be a good, you're not going to feel good in your body. You're not going to want to do anything. Okay. And then we want to talk about Jupiter, benefic Jupiter. All right, so we've got Uranus making a sextile. So there goes that name again, sextile. We have air and fire working together. And remember, Jupiter expands whatever he is doing. And so Jupiter is expanding this energy for you to get divine communication from God, from a resource. One of the things that I have going on right now is I have put myself in a situation to help somebody else. But I have found that every time I hang out with this person and I help them, then I end up feeling better. I end up getting something in it as well. So that has been a, you know, benefic Jupiter thing that has happened to me, because I went in there thinking it was going to be this one way, but I got a surprise from Uranus and from Mars, where it's like, you know what, we're going to cut out that old story of you thinking that you always got to come in and save the day. Look at what just happened. We got this, we got this, we got this, just by showing up, okay? Showing up and doing the new thing, showing up and doing the weird thing, making time for your routine and your habits to support what it is that you want to do. If again, if you feel like I have had this, I'm not satisfied with my job anymore, I'm not satisfied with this relationship anymore, well, we can complain about it, right? But these sextiles are asking you to take action on that. All right. What can you do in your day to day to kind of let that go? All right. One of the things that my astrology teacher said when I was looking at her podcast on Friday, she had a guest on there. And the guest said something so powerful to me, or to the people that were watching. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Just say, I don't want to do that. I thank you for the invite, but that doesn't resonate with me. Or thank you for the invite, but I have this planned. And then you just leave it at that. There is power in that, because otherwise people can, try to break you down and make you feel like you have to show up and help whenever, you got to fill up your cup. And if we don't recharge our batteries, then, that's Uranus. How are we recharging our batteries? All right, your fire, that is also Mars as well. How are we recharging our batteries? Are we, looking at social media? Are we eating a bunch of junk food? Are we spending money that we don't have? Are we gossiping about people? Because your Gemini could be gossiping, okay? And how can we use that energy, okay, to not be gossiping about other people, because that is a reflection of us. And are we jealous maybe that that person is working on their dreams and we really haven't done anything, and so therefore we're going to talk about them? Or is somebody in your life an exaggerated truth of something that you are, but you don't like that version of yourself, right? Maybe this person is too cluttery and we want to talk about how cluttery they are. Well, what are we doing in our own life to possibly clean up the clutter in our own life? Whether that is a closet, whether that is a box of pictures, that's what I have to go through. But I have been extending the olive branch to so many people, and so I'm just putting a little hand up, okay, and patting myself on the back for, okay, we need a little reminder about setting some of those boundaries, because we are being blessed now to step into what it is that our heart wants. And so one of the things that, even though we've got some of these positive aspects, all right, I will talk about the trine in just a minute, but let's talk about one of these adverse aspects before we end on a positive note. We've got Pluto, which is opposite of Jupiter right now. And so Jupiter expands whatever he is in. And oppositions are kind of tension points. They cause us to change when we don't want to. They create that uncomfortable experience with either a person or an event, or maybe you're chatter in your mind, whatever it is, okay? It's going to create that uncomfortable experience so that you do change. For example, if you've always wanted to start your own coffee business and have a little side hustle there, well, maybe you end up getting let go from your job. And now you can, even though that's uncomfortable, okay, we can pout about it for a little bit, but what are we going to do to change that? Maybe this is the universe taking that out so that you can step more fully into that. And the next thing you know, somebody might sponsor you, want to pay for your logo, want to maybe supply all the coffee that you have. And this astrological alignment actually is putting tension points from people that are not living in their heart. And so if you aren't living in your heart, what can you do in order to do that? If you are having trouble kind of connecting to that, what is something that your inner child wants to do? Does your inner child maybe want to go play on a swing? Does your inner child maybe need some ice cream? Does your inner child maybe just want to, go off somewhere and maybe take just a trip to the beach for the day and don't tell anybody where you're going and kind of be mysterious like that to kind of recharge your batteries? Those are things that are going to help you be quiet in your mind so you can figure out some of this stuff. We still have Mercury in retrograde, okay? And with this Mercury in retrograde, it is going to be over, let me see. Mercury stations direct on the 23rd. And so a lot of these happenings are happening all in July. It is divine energy coming down on the earth. All of this is at 4 degrees, okay? And Nicholas Dodanovich was an amazing astrologer, and every one of these degree points that you see, 4, 0, 4, they all mean something. And 4 degrees is a Cancer degree. We just had that new moon in Cancer last week, which I feel kind of kicked off a little of this energy, asking us to clean up the clutter in our house, asking us to maybe look at some past things and how have we maybe changed since those events. How have maybe we forgiven not only others that have hurt us, but forgiven ourselves for maybe how we have acted. That has no room for where we are going into the future. And so if you have felt a little bit weepy, a little bit nostalgic last week, this is why, because we've got to clean out some of that clutter for a home degree so that we can have the new energy for our home, our foundation. When we look at the astrological wheel, first house is our identity. The second house is our values. The third house is how we communicate. And the fourth house is our home. It's the bottom of the chart, what keeps us stable. And so if you have things in your life right now that are not stable, you are being guided right now to cut that crap out. Cut that crap out so you can be set up on that newer high timeline. Now, the trines that we are having, okay, we've got a trine happening right now, which is between, and the moon moves very fast, okay? It takes 28 days to go around the zodiac. And so the moon will spend about 2 to 3 days in a sign. And so right now you've got the moon that is making a trine aspect to two outer planets, Uranus and also Neptune. And so you could be, the moon is our emotions. And a lot of this has to do with relationships, folks. How is that relationship helping you? How is that relationship keeping you in balance? Is it an opposite to you that's kind of keeping you in harmony? Or is it a relationship that you are chasing? Or is it a relationship that you feel like you're having to bend over backwards for so it stays? So there could be some realizations here about these things that I thought that I wanted don't align with me anymore. And so you could be having opportunities to be in energies that are a little bit more in balance this week and giving you a little taste of, hey, this feels good to me. And if this feels good, then I know that this is where I need to be going. If a decision that you make right now, Libra, peace, the peacemaker. If a decision that you make right now allows you to have peace in your heart, makes you feel calm when you do it, that is the right decision. If it makes you feel like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm feeling all over the place. We feel like that when we look at social media, right? Getting that quick shot of dopamine. It's good, right? And the more that we feed into that, the more we're going to have experiences like that. In order to get peaceful, go outside. Go outside, because Venus is in Virgo right now, and Virgo controls the earth, Mother Earth, not Mother Earth, but holistic type health, Holistic type health could be grounding outside. Holistic type health could be self-care practices, putting those into your routine. Because if we're, oh, I gotta work, oh, I gotta work on this next new thing. Now is not the time to be working on that next new thing with, you've got Mercury in retrograde. You can't be working on that next new thing. It's time to get the clutter out, delete the files that you don't need off the computer, get a template to where you're a little bit more organized, maybe in how you spend money before we start over that new thing. Okay, I would be kind of working with these energies. I'm going to say till the end of August, because some people, even though this is out of retrograde on the 23rd, post shadow is real, folks, and it is 2 weeks after. I'm the person that usually gets affected by Mercury retrograde, pre-shadow and post-shadow. And if the Mercury in retrograde, that's usually a 2-week transit, is a little bit uncomfortable, and where it's attaching to my chart and hitting some points, I could be feeling that energy for about 6 weeks, like I did in the beginning of the year whenever Mercury was in Pisces. So we've got one more at the end of the year, which is in Scorpio. So if you haven't dealt with past issues, if you haven't done those things that you need to do, Scorpio season is going to be an opportunity for you to have those conversations, for you to have those opportunities to let those things go. And it could be maybe a little bit more uncomfortable during that time. So I would suggest doing it now, where it's, kind of going with the flow a little bit, with the moon's energy instead of with Pluto's energy, which is governed by Scorpio in Scorpio season. That's going to be a little bit intense. And these nodes, okay, I haven't even talked about that. The nodes are in Pisces right now at an anaretic degree, 0. Pisces is the most creative sign in the zodiac. Pisces is also about illusions, that which is hidden. And so what hidden information could be coming to the surface, some realization, some clarity that you need to know so that you can be in more alignment to the future. What new information have you found out? Is it maybe information that you've had clarity with yourself? Like, oh yeah, I have not been doing X, Y, Z. No wonder I've had this as a consequence, okay? This is going to be a final letting go of that, because once this moves into Aquarius, I think it is on the 26th, everything is going to be in fire and air, because the sun will have also ingressed into an air sign, into a fire sign. So there's not going to be any more water. There's not going to be any more earth. And so everything is going to be fire and air. Everything is going to be moving a little bit faster. This trine here, okay, between Pluto and the moon, again, letting go of emotional things that are not serving you for the future. And a lot of those are going to have to deal with relationships to other people, and relationships also to maybe the habits that you have that don't support your future. You've also got a trine here between Pluto and Uranus. And this to me is even more support to let those things go in a quick and sudden way. And even though it can be uncomfortable, okay, leaning on your friends for support, leaning on other people, asking for help, not being, oh, I've got to self-sacrifice my happiness for whatever it is. You could feel like maybe this is causing you some unhappiness, but whatever is happening for you, so that you can step into a better story than one that you can even possibly imagine. Today, we've also got Uranus in a trine to the moon. So again, another opportunity for you to kind of let go. Do you feel like this person supports you in the future? And if it doesn't, we are being supported at this time. Mother Earth, again, is the 4 degree. And if you've got all these outer planets in fire and air, and they are pressing on the water of the earth, I would highly, highly, highly recommend you to get outside in nature, get energy from the sun so that it can energize yourself. Being active outside in nature can kind of, especially in the morning, can kind of help calm down some of these frequencies so you don't feel so scattered in your mind about not knowing what choices to make. It can also help you breathe a little bit better because we've got so much stuff in air right now that is breathing. And when we get calm and we do take that breath, we are able to be a little bit more calm in how we make those decisions, because we make those hasty decisions about our future plans in a quick and sudden way instead of let me sit with this for a little bit and see how that feels. Then we're not going to be able to make a sound decision because we're only going to be focusing on the present moment instead of focusing on the long term. And with Saturn being here in Aries, Saturn is long term. Saturn is things taking a long time. Discipline, discipline of the self, discipline in how we spend our resources, discipline in how we treat ourselves. If we want someone to love us, we've got to make sure that we are loving ourselves first. Because if you aren't, and you aren't treating yourself with Venusian type ways by fixing yourself something to eat when you're hungry instead of, getting a Diet Coke and a pack of crackers at work when you get there. Or, oh, I'll just do this later, cleaning up my kitchen, when you know that that's probably going to make you feel better later on when you walk into that room and fix yourself something to eat. These little things can help us create that stability so our new future self has a place to go. So I know that some of these things may be uncomfortable. I'm going through some, changes myself and trying to not only help myself look at things from the past that I need to look at, but helping other people kind of make that next step so that they can let go of some of the things in the past that no longer serve and that they can be in a better place. Because a healed person heals people, and hurt people hurt other people. And when you start working on yourself and you start using some of this energy in order to make those better choices, you will be amazed at how much further that your life looks in the next 8 years. I know mine, ever since what happened in 2020, mine looks totally different. And I know that because of the work that I have done on myself and where I place my values, that I'm going to be in a better situation come the next 8 years because I'm getting blessed by Uranus to transform how I communicate, transform how I'm service to humanity, transform how I am in relationship to other people and in my friendship circle. And so when you kind of step back and you're like, does this really align with me anymore? Does this make me happy? Or am I just doing this for a paycheck? Or am I just doing this because that's what everybody wants me to do? When we let that go, that's when we get a little bit healthier. That's when we have the clarity. That's when we lose the weight. It's emotional weight that is keeping that weight on you lots of times. And when we let that go, that's when we feel a lot better in our body. If you would like to know how this is going to be affecting you most personally, please hit me up. I have my information in the description box below. I know for me personally, this stuff is affecting me a lot because I am a Leo rising. So I'm having a lot of stuff transit over Leo in my chart over the next year. And so this is a new opportunity for me to show up to the world differently and take those brave steps and tell people this is what I'm interested in. And this is the things that have helped me kind of discover that, I wasn't as cool as I thought I was. And when I worked on some of those things, it made me realize that how I needed to value relationships differently, how I needed to show up for other people differently, and how I needed to show up for myself differently. When you were born, you breathed in all these planets and where they were. And that stays with you for the rest of your life. They have an energetic imprint, just like they're having an energetic imprint right now on the collective. So again, if you would like to know how this is affecting you most personally, let me know. I would love to help you out. My name is Chrissy Smith. This is Nine Lives Energy, and together we energize your body from the inside out. Thanks so much. Have a magical night.